State Fullerton has done it. They've gone from 15-16 to champions of college
baseball. Welcome to the 1,544 Miles to Omaha Podcast, talking about the past, present, and future of Cal State Fullerton baseball.
And he drives this one high and deep to center field. Elliott carry all the way back, and that one is gone. A three-run shot for Timmy Richards.
Ripped through into left field. Suzuki with a hit. Here comes Hunter Harris with the throw to the plate. It's not in time, and Fullerton is on top.
Hit to center. Fellhauer coming over. The Cal State Fullerton Titans are going to the Super Regionals again.
Here's your host, Dave Lamb.
Welcome into episode 82 of the 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast. Today's guest is once again Cal State Fullerton baseball head coach Jason Dietrich. In today's episode, we'll be discussing with the coach the 2023 season, his second complete season as head coach of the historic and tradition-rich program. In 2023, the Titans finished the year 32-24, 20-10 in the Big West Conference, and earned the automatic bid into the postseason, playing in the Stanford Regional in Palo Alto. There, the Titans went 1-2, eliminating San Jose State and preserving the streak of never going 0-2 in a regional. So, welcome into the show, Coach. Give us your thoughts on from the year one to year two, being able to get the Titans back to playing winning baseball for the first time since 2019.
Well, first, thanks for having me. Good to see you again. It's year two. Obviously, there's a lot of positive things that I felt happened. Year one is kind of just, again, you're getting your feet wet. Everyone's trying to figure things out. Year two, transition seemed obviously a lot better, but you still have things you're working on to figure out roster-wise and all that. So, I thought there was a lot of things that we had to address as a staff going into year two. Obviously, bringing in, I think, 22 new players. In fall, we addressed a lot of areas from culture perspective, having a lot of team meetings on a weekly basis, kind of gathering a couple guys from each class to have, consistent meetings with them. I thought they did a great job of building team chemistry. Obviously, this clubhouse has been huge for us, for our guys to just be around each other and do a lot of things together. So that was the great part, is these guys, like I said, they really got to know each other really well. They dove in and did a good job with that. So a lot of positive things happen, and we're looking forward to, obviously, having things continuously go in the right direction. But there's a lot of positive stuff.
Well, you mentioned that you had roughly 22 newcomers coming in. With that many newcomers coming into the program, and then you had, I want to say, like roughly less than 20 returning veterans, how did you as a staff and the veterans get everyone to buy into what you're trying to rebuild and regain as a program?
I think it was 17 returners that we had coming back. We had talked to them previously just to state that, they're all on board. They understood what we were striving for as a staff, our vision. We just asked them that it's going to take all of us to pull from the same rope. And I think the guys did a great job of building that, the returners. And it was just more, we would have a lot of meetings where guys would talk to each other. We asked them to have more get-togethers at their places, have guys over for dinner. We'd have dinners here. And like I said, it'd be just get-togethers where we just all continuously grew to get to know each other. And we felt that was important for us to build that kind of the family atmosphere, to build trust in each other. And that takes time, but we all worked at it at a high level. And I think the newcomers did a great job of adapting, of learning, of understanding the picture we were painting. And I think at the end of fall, we felt really excited kind of what's transpired. And we're, anxious to see what the spring was going to entail for us.
Well, going through the previous season, exiting a wet and dreary February with a record of 2-4, the team rattled off 9 consecutive weekend series wins through March and into April. And what do you think was the catalyst that propelled this team to go 24-9 in those 2 months that included a 7-game and a 6-game winning streak?
I think all the little things. They were believing in themselves. After the Stanford series, that was a tough one. We felt we had them in that game 3 and we lost that. But our guys needed to go through those things to understand that they can compete, and they had to understand that they compete with anybody. And then when we played Texas, That was a really good series. We won that series. And our guys soon believed, and I firmly believe that they thought they could play with anybody. And then it was about just playing the game of baseball. That's what we kept on stressing to them, is practice has got to be highly about fundamentals, being competitive, So I think when we went to Pepperdine and won that series, confidence is big, as you know, in this game, and I think our guys just started feeding off that. Whether we played a bad game or not, they would just kind of move on from it and get to the next game. And I think we did a good job with that, just playing every single game. And with that, we did a good job of finding a way to, like you said, win a lot of weekends. And that was huge. And that's something that they haven't done in a while. So we're going through all those little things that some of these guys haven't experienced. So that was the fun part. And I think they continuously grew off that and fed off each other. And that was the fun part. And then, you saw at the back end, we had a little bit of a tough spot. But it happens in a season. You just don't know when it's going to happen. And I thought our guys, like I said, they did a good job of believing each other. And I think that's what's helped us at the back end, is kind of getting out to kind of a good start in conference. Helped us kind of absorb that blow a little bit at the back end.
Well, I was just about to ask that. I said, obviously with the good does come the bad. And then coming out of May, the road trip to TCU that kind of sparked that 8-game losing streak. It also coincided with the Titans being ranked in the top 25 by publications like D1 Baseball, and then they had an RPI of about 41, 42, depending on where you looked. Now that you've had some time to digest it, is there one thing that you can pinpoint that might have led to that late season skid?
No, I just think that sometimes you go through a tough spell. We played a good game Friday against TCU. We knew they were good, and we faced them. They were kind of going through their little tough spell too, but they're very talented, and we knew going into there that they would be. Watching them on video, and it's crazy, right? They go all the way to Omaha, but we saw that the talent that they had. And then, like I said, we lost a couple games. We just didn't play good baseball. I thought the bodies were a little tired. Then, like you're saying, with expectation, sometimes guys, and I thought our teams wanted to do more. They wanted to play better. They do things that we didn't really practice, and so all of a sudden, when you're getting a little bit of attention or people think you're playing good, it puts a little more pressure on them. They're wanting to do more because they care. It wasn't them being scared or anything. It was just they cared a lot. They wanted to keep on playing at a high level. And then we just got in a funk. We just couldn't get out of it. Everyone stuck together. That was a positive about this team. These guys were great. We all stuck together. No one was pointing fingers. We just kept on working and going. We had to find a way to overcome the little things and play better baseball. Like I said, we weren't playing good baseball. We weren't pitching it good at times. We weren't having good offense. Didn't play good defense. We wouldn't play 2 of those 3. As you know, we just didn't play good baseball. And that happens, but we were hoping that it wouldn't go as long as it did. But in essence, I think it was great for us to learn from that too, and to build off of each other and to help them grow. And that's what a season does, is there's so many kind of ebbs and flows and turns of a season. I think they helped them grow as a team and become better, and allowed us to finish, on a positive, to put us in a spot that I knew that they were excited that we were in.
Well, you seem to be reading my mind, because my next question is talking about the finish to the regular season. Was winning 3 of the last 4 games and securing the postseason berth while up at Cal Poly. Nobody on this team, even Zach Liu, who had been on the 2019 team that finished 1 game above 500, none of these players had experienced playoff baseball at the Division I level. Describe the atmosphere around the team when they secured that postseason berth.
They were pumped. They were excited. We all knew what lied ahead going into that last week. You don't watch the standings. You're not there to follow them. You just recognize and kind of let them know, hey, this is what lies ahead. This is what we need to do. So I did share with them, if I were to tell you guys August 20th, our first meeting, or whatever day that was, that the last week would mean we have a chance to compete for Big West title, how many guys would have taken it? And they all said they would have taken it and raised their hand. So knowing that, just said, hey, so at the end, you still have something to play for and play your style of baseball, and I believe that we'll be fine. And I thought, winning that game on Sunday against Long Beach, and then going to SLO, which is a tough place to play. They've done well against us. Whether they're having a tough year or not, they're still, a great program. We won the first game, and obviously we saw that Santa Barbara lost, so we knew what lied ahead for us, and they came out and did the job the next game. And obviously, we wanted to go for the share of the Big West title. So that was part of it. That was the unfortunate thing that didn't happen, but the positive is the opportunity to get to postseason was huge for us. And that's we're excited about that. And the guys have been here. Lou hasn't been a part of that, and that's the reason why he came back. Caden Connor came back. Some of those other guys came back because of they had that same vision, they had that same belief, and for them to experience it, that's the most satisfying thing for us as coaches and this coaching staff. See those guys get to experience that. I thought we did well in the regional, but we came up a little short.
Well, you've been part of teams that have played in the postseason, most notably your time at Cal State Fullerton, going to Omaha in 2015 as the pitching coach. But you were an assistant coach at the time. Outside of the disappointment of the end of the result up at Stanford, how was the postseason for you now that you're in a head coaching position?
Like I said, it was awesome. It was awesome because you see it from a different lens. Not saying that assistant, you respect it and you cherish it and you appreciate it. And I think that's one thing that, as coaches, we do this because we want our players' experience of the postseason is about. And to see them be excited and happy for all the hard work they put in, that's what it all boils down to. And that's, for me, is the most important thing. As a head coach, you're just, these guys, when you see how much work they put in, at the end of the day, for them to experience that rewards everybody in the right manner. Knowing they've come from many different places and it's been a grind to get to where we were, but that's part of life, right? That's how we teach them how life's going to be and how the parallels with life lessons and all that. So for what we did, I was pumped and excited for not just the players, but for the program. Obviously our goal is not to get to a regional, it's to get to all the way and compete for national championship. But obviously there's a process and steps we have to take and continuously grow to move forward.
Well, you had mentioned Caden Connor, you mentioned Zach Liu. There were 4 seniors who played significant roles in 2023 that no matter what happens in the draft, they're not going to be back next year because they've exhausted their NCAA eligibility. Zach Liu, Carter White, Finn Chester, Tyler Stoltz. What can you say about those 4 guys and their contributions to the Titan baseball program?
They gave a lot. They gave everything they could, and that's what was great to see, is them to know what a Titan was and to believe in it and to get out there and compete at a high level. Those guys will be missed, but I firmly believe they left their legacy behind. I think they did a great job of passing down what they believe is going to help the guys are returning, but the incoming guys. So they left some things behind that's going to help us continuously grow and go in the right direction. So what they did is not just paying off this year, but it's going to pay off down the road, because I know those guys cared about what it meant to be a Titan. And they came here and they, like I said, they got in the postseason. But that wasn't the ultimate goal, but it's part of our goals. And so with that said, you can't ever put a price on what they did for us. It was very tremendous, and I'm thankful for those 4 guys, but also for all the guys that contributed, not just those 4, but at least they got to leave their college career on a high note.
And then guys like Caden Connor, Cole Ehrman, Nate Nankill could possibly return if the draft doesn't break their way. How difficult is it to prepare for a season not knowing if major contributors like those 3 could return, or you have to fill those holds should they leave?
That's I think everyone's question, every coaching staff's $1 million question is, how do you prepare for that with the draft being pushed back to July 9th? It's tougher because how many Caden Connors are going to be out there, Nate Nankill is going to be out there, not a lot. So what you're trying to do is just talk to those guys, understand what their signability is, get a good feel for them, what's going to take for them not to come back to school, and to stick to that. But we do our homework too, talking to the different organizations and all their people on their hierarchy, to get a feel for what they're thinking about our players, and then our incoming recruits too. How many guys are contemplating possibly wanting to sign or feel they're in a position to possibly sign. So it is tough, but at the end of the day, you're doing your best to put the pieces of the puzzle together, keep your roster where you need to be, and that's where it's a lot of communicating with people to see where we're at. We're going to do our best to get the best players, and if by chance we get lucky to have maybe one of those returning guys does not get drafted or get what they want, we'll figure it out from there. We'll be fine. Like I said, it might, there's some decisions you have to make, but you let other guys know that this is a possibility that can happen, and we have 40 roster spots, so we got to figure out what's best for the roster.
Do you find it to be an advantage with Coach Bolofsky's background in Major League Baseball and where he has been within the Major League hierarchy, to be able to have that background that you can lean on him and his contacts to be able to have that insight on how the draft might break? Yeah,
we have a good feel. He knows a lot of people, and we do our best to get that information from them. As you know, the draft is still a crazy process. Things that you think could happen don't. Things you thought wouldn't happen do. It's just it's crazy. You feel for some good kids because they put all their hopes into this and it doesn't happen the way they want. And then some are surprised that things happen. So his information is vital. The people he knows is huge for us, but that's just we have to put the pieces of the puzzle together to figure out, do we do everything we possibly could to make sure we prepare for this? And there's going to be some things that you think you prepare for, but all of a sudden it changes. So we have to make sure we can change also and do our best to try to fill those voids the best we can.
Well, we talked about the draft eligible guys like Nankill and Connor and Herman, but you also have draft eligible guys that are signed to come in. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Matthew Bardowell from Riverside City College. Mm-hmm. He's playing summer ball in the MLB Draft League. He's a National Letter of Intent signee. And Isaiah Thompson, same thing. He's playing in that same MLB Draft League. Last year, Nacho Alvarez was drafted 5th round by the Atlanta Braves and ended up not coming to Cal State Fullerton. So how difficult is it not only navigating the potential of returning players, but then also recruits and signees as well?
Well, that's just part of the process, the relationships we have to build with these incoming players. They have to believe in us and understanding that we want what's best for them. Just like you said, Nacho last year, he stuck to his number and he signed because that's what he said would take him away from coming to school. So we do our research. We have, we have meetings with families and the players to go over kind of where they're at, the process, how it works. We do our best to educate them. Obviously, some of these individuals have people that help them on the side too to educate them. So it's a lot of stuff going on, but we do our best to show them why we feel this could be a best fit for them, not just for us selfishly, just for their growth and for life and for opportunity also. We've seen a lot of guys that went drafted late to be top round picks out of Cal State Fullerton, or undrafted at all to be good round picks out of Cal State Fullerton. So we just try to do our best to educate them and then do our best to make sure our roster is covered. And that's the tough part, is you put faith in some of these families, and if they stick to their number, great. If they don't, then that could hurt you, and possibly you can lose a couple good players because of it, and that's the tough part.
Well, I saw on Twitter that in a radio interview, Cliff Godwin, East Carolina, let it slip that Cal State Fullerton's going to be playing in the 2024 Keith LeClaire Classic out in Greenville. Mm-hmm. Can you share any details on how that came about?
I think I know a couple people over there, so maybe see if they wanted to play. So, no, I talked to them, and they were looking for a team, and I said we'd love to come out there. I'd love for our guys to experience that. I think Fullerton's been out there many years ago, but I think it's a great experience for us to go cross country to a great program, great environment, great fans, and for us to compete with, I think it'll be 3 teams, ECU and 2 other teams, just to get that environment, just get that feel. They need to go through that experience. That's important here at Cal State Fullerton, as you know, is to go through these experiences. When you come to conference, you feel like you've had some challenges, some things that the guys have gone through to help them compete in the Big West at a high level.
And then, speaking about scheduling, obviously TCU was a little bit of a surprise because the stars aligned that their bye week and the Big West bye week for Fullerton kind of aligned. Is there any chance that they might be able to come back and do a home and away like we've be already there and come back here?
We're trying to get them, but as you know, some people's schedules are 3 years in advance right now. So we're still working on next year's schedule. We have a good amount of it done, and then, like I said, TCU, we're trying to get them out here, and we're trying to go back there, but like I said, it's been tough. Everyone's schedule is different, and then when you have other tournaments going on, other things, and especially with us having a conference tournament now, we only really get the 4 weeks. Starting in 2025, we're supposed to have the conference tournament. So after next year, we only get the first 4 weeks. Then it's going to be 11 weeks of conference and the conference tournament. So we won't have a bye week, a non-conference scheduled weekend. It'll be your first 4 weekends, and that's it.
So a few questions about college baseball in general, and then we'll get back into more specific about Titan baseball. Recently saw LSU win the national championship with a mix of high-profile and highly coveted transfer portal guys like Tommy White, Paul Skeens, along with homegrown guys like Dylan Cruz. With the pervasiveness of name, image, and likeness as a recruiting tool combined with increased transfer portal movement, how can a program like Cal State Fullerton compete on a level playing surface for transfer portal guys and recruits?
Well, we understand what our resources are, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of people that care about the program. So we're doing our best as a staff right now of and the athletic department is looking to see how we can do things. Every state has its own laws about the NIL, so we're working hard. I think we're going to have, we're working with our athletic department to find ways so we can do that. We're trying to figure out how we can go about possibly having that be beneficial to us. If people want to help out our players or what have you, then that can happen. It's not something that, through compliance you can do it. So we're going to have to do our best to kind of come up with the athletic department to see how we can go about it in a manner that can help not just us, but all athletics. And it might be not as much as some of these programs, as you know, but it's going to be something that we'll do our best to compete and show that obviously being a state system, we feel like, there's not a lot of cost in certain areas. And so we are working right now to continuously educate ourselves how we can make this benefit us. And if it's not the level that some of the bigger schools, we're not worried about that. We're trying to find a way, how can it help benefit us, the athletic department, but also baseball too. So we are brainstorming nonstop as a staff to figure out how we can move forward with this.
Well, speaking of the transfer portal, number of guys from last year's team are in the portal, but we've also seen that I believe his name is Jared Snyder, the catcher from Long Beach State. We're able to convert a dirtbag to come be a Titan. Can you speak a little bit about him coming over via the transfer portal?
Well, again, we are looking at our needs, and you always look at your needs in the roster. That's why we don't jump in the portal, just jump in the portal. We felt we needed a catcher. We feel Ehrman's going to be one that's going to be signing with Max Ortega and some guys coming in. We just wanted to make sure we had the catching depth we wanted. We saw he was in the portal, and so what we did is just do our homework and kind of gather information about him. What happened in his years at Long Beach, his high school, people that knew him, and there's a lot of positive things that are said on him. And so we did our homework. We felt it would be a good fit. We saw some video on him and met with him and his dad, and they liked everything. We liked everything, and feels a good fit for him to continuously grow and become a better baseball player. So we're excited for him to be on the team.
Well, talking about a little bit more about transfer portal, this is that time, and I don't know, when does the window close? What's the actual date?
I think it's next week.
Okay.
When guys can stop going in there.
Gotcha. Can they not transfer? I mean, they can. There's a date and a time when they can enter, and then there's a date and a time where they have to be pulled out. Or?
I don't know exactly. I know next week, I think it's the last day they can enter the portal. I'm not sure how long it can go until you continuously can recruit. I should know, but I don't. But I'll have to check into that later today to get that figured out. Okay.
So last time this year, Jay Johnson, LSU, were making pretty big moves and announcements, signing guys like the ones that I previously mentioned. But today, it seems like Tono Vitello and Tennessee, they've taken a page from the same playbook, and they're making big waves in the transfer portal. Does college baseball feel a little bit like MLB free agency now that the transfer portal is open, and teams like the SEC are essentially like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and whoever has the biggest checkbook is the one that wins?
That's what it seems like. It's going on. Not having, I know people throughout the U.S., and you hear a lot of stories as coaches. We all talk and kind of gather information from each other. You hear a lot of interesting stories that are going on out there about the tactics of people doing it. And the reality is, if they have the resources and they're doing it right, then again, you have ways where people can find better opportunities for themselves, so to speak, and get a chance to put themselves in a financially good situation, get school paid for, then obviously put themselves hopefully in a good position to get drafted. So it is different. We're doing our best to adjust, but baseball is, I'd like to see how much further this is going to go. Is it, it's very competitive right now, as you can see. And right now, people with a little more resources are pushing hard to get what they want from a financial standpoint. That's what it looks like and sounds like. So we're going to do our best to keep guys for the right reasons here, and then we're still working to educate ourselves how we can find a way to make NIL something that's benefiting our players also. Not just our players, but the athletic department also.
So I'll end with this. Having a winning season and going to the postseason in your second year at the helm, what can you build upon heading into next season?
As we all want to, we just want consistency. We want consistency in our culture, how we go about things, playing the game of baseball. Did we expect this our second year? No. Doesn't mean that we had low standards or goals. We didn't. It was just the guys did a great job of coming together, and they're a great group of guys to be around. Next year might have to be more patient as a fan base because, again, if we lose all our returning guys, the bats that we have, and the guys we recruited could be younger. So, and on the mound, I think we have some guys, with Evan Yates coming back, and hopefully Christian Rodriguez can come back, be healthy, and then with a lot of incoming guys, there might be some patience that people need to have to see us grow, and so we can figure out what's best. And that's kind of just from us looking at the roster and where we're at. So we like what we have. It's just, like I said, we have to do our best to figure everything out come by conference and continuously grow heading into that. But we're excited. Our goals are continuously going to compete at a high level. Obviously, we're shooting for, postseason and competing for the Big West title. But as you know, it's not like saying we have minimal standards. I think we have high standards. It's just continuously getting the guys to grow and keep on understanding what our vision is. And I think we have the right returning guys coming back, and we believe and we like the incoming guys, what they're all about too. So we're excited, like I said, but we just know that there'll be some bumps and bruises, so to speak, but we're excited for the growth of these guys and who can come in or compete for jobs, because there'll be some jobs that are open there for guys to take.
Thanks for listening to the 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast. Feel free to visit our website, calstateomaha.com. While there, you can order an official Cal State Omaha t-shirt from the merch store. Please subscribe to the 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast and share with family and friends. It's easy. It takes just a few seconds. The 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast is an On the Lam Enterprises production and is not affiliated with Cal State Fullerton or Titan Baseball.